Yeah. So, Karan, now you've almost graduated from the University of Toronto, and there must have been lots of learnings from your 4 years at UTM Commerce. And could you tell us from year one and your progression to year two, year three, going on exchanges, how has your personality changed? And also, what are some of the things that you've learned across these years? And what tips do you have for students who are like in high school right now looking to apply to UTM? What should they be aware of, and what should they do to stand out?
Sure. So when I came in year one, just so you guys know my background, I come from a very small town in India. I come from a town called Pat Hankod in Punjab. And then being an international student at U of T, coming in first year, my perspective was that, if I'm able to ace my academics, I'll get all the opportunities in the world I want to because this is a great university. And that was my goal, probably for the first 2 years. And then while I was going through commerce, I to make post in commerce, just so you guys know, it's in UTM, it is based on the average of the class. So you have to be at the top of the class, not the top, but you have to be better than the average of the class, so that you can make post at UTM, so that you are able to take your accounting and finance courses in your year two. So I was able to do that. After my year one, because I came late because of some visa issues, but I was still able to do that. And it's not hard if you are consistent at doing your courses, Eco 101, 102, MGT 1356. Making a post is not the biggest deal. It's comparatively very very easy. You just have to be consistent at studying in year one. Year two, I would say, is the year where you learn, where you are conceptually upgraded as a student. So year two for me was like amazing. It was like I studied a lot. But after studying a lot, maintaining a good GPA, and doing everything that was asked in the playbook to get a good, probably a good internship, I tried applying to a lot of internships within Canada, but I was unable to get it. I was unable to get anything in my year two, and that is when I started thinking as of to there is something I'm lacking. I still remember this was December end when I was very sad, and I was very disappointed that I'm unable to get a summer internship in a country full of opportunities, and something is I lack something. I started brainstorming on it, and I talked to a couple of seniors, a couple of people back home in India, a couple of mentors, and they gave me the advice that academics are just a part of the process. Like if there are 10 configurations, especially in this age of AI, where most of the work can be achieved technically with the help of artificial intelligence. And we are not very far away from automation because I've seen AI very closely. So if there are 10 variables, academics are just one of them. Academics is just one part of the variable. And that is when I thought I wanted global exposure and I wanted international exposure. And that is how I decided to apply for exchange to Singapore. So I applied for exchange, and going to NUS was a whole new mm, change in perspective for me, a shift in my experience because I looked at people who were 20, 19, 21, not worried about the academics and building real things for the real world. It was less about, so success was less about getting a job for them, and it was more about, and I know this sounds very bookish, but it was actually making an impact. Like for them, success was actually building things out. I was very lucky. I was able to get to be introduced to those set of people in at NUS in Singapore. But I saw a very different environment that I saw from what I saw in U of T, because U of T was primarily people hunting internships and IB in private equity and VC and software development engineering and everything, and that was their ultimate goal. And these people in Singapore and NUS, probably because of the support of the system they get from the Singaporean government and the university, they were on a different level playing ground altogether. I got introduced to them. I looked at them very closely. I observed them, and I got introduced to that. I'll say specifically to that startup world and startup life, and it was mind blowing for me. The amount of things we as humans and we as students especially can do, and it just generated some self belief within me. And then post Singapore, because of that experience, because of that self-belief, because I had already done those variables in Singapore, I have ticked those marks, I got the global exposure. My communication got improved. Everything that I had to do and I could do in my playing area, I was able to do that. I easily got an internship. Like easily, I would say I got three offers in my year three summer internship. So three banks, and I was able to work at the Royal Bank of Canada. So that is when I realized that academics are like you can have a 3.0 and you can be materially very successful. You can get a great job, you can get a great you can build a great business, and you can do things that a 4.0 cannot do. Just because you have exposure to things and you have seen things very closely, and the other person just didn't even try to. So that is what I kept in mind. For commerce, yes, finance, I am very happy with the program. I learned a lot of things. But again, I just think they are an aspect of like degree is one aspect of what we should be doing in these 4 years. Like there's so much more to life and to our values as professionals. Because if you're listening to this video primarily because you want to be able to understand how to get an RBC internship or a full-time position, and how Sean's working at Amazon this summer onwards. If you're looking this video primarily for that probably you would not get it because 10,000 other people are looking at 100,000 other videos like this. My main aim is to tell you guys that out of classroom there's a whole world, there's a whole playground. Try yourself, bet on yourself, and do things which like just bet on opportunities, try new opportunities, look for opportunities which are less explored. As one of my good friends says, the take the road less traveled, and it will expose you to a world which is very new and which has all the shining and brightness in the world. But make sure that academics are just a part of your whole degree, of the whole process, and they are not the majority of the whole process. Because trust me, kid you not, in this economy, this market, if you're able to ace academics and you're unable to ace other aspect, not even ace other aspect, if you just ace academics, success is not guaranteed. Like you will probably struggle with whatever your material aims are. They can be getting a job, they can be building a business, and whatever. If academics are a pathway, is one of the is one of the building block of what you're trying to achieve, yes, but they should not become, because I see most of the students around me, my juniors also, most of their troubles and most of their problems come from an assignment, an academic pressure or whatever, and because of that they're unable to focus on things which are which are much more valuable than academics. So yeah, just focus on those.
Yeah, I think that's some great perspective for students entering university. I know a lot of people focus on their GPA and they want to try and flaunt it, but at the end of the day, in the real world, it's not just the GPA. You also need to be a person who you can work with, and you also need to have other skills, projects, extracurricular activities, as well as good references. So, another question I just wanted to ask you quickly was I know in your first 2 years, you're primarily focusing on the GPA, and then you're also trying to build certain projects, and you notice that in Singapore so many people were doing things outside the classroom. So what projects did you sort of work on over the last 4 years of your undergrad, and what tips would you have for students to seek other things and seek other opportunities to build their resume?
Sure. So, see, first of all, again, Sean, I know this is recording and keep this rolling, but building resume is not the goal. Like, guys, trust me, building resume it's great. You get the correct font, you get the correct whatever, you get the keywords. As I've seen a lot of people focusing on what keywords should I add to my resume, and you get everything right. You get a lot of experiences, but if you're doing primarily for building you're doing them primarily for building the resume, you're doing the wrong thing. Because see, resume will go obsolete. I know this for sure, that I have seen on X, and I have so many friends who are posting, they are hiring people. They don't care about the resume. They don't even ask for the resume. What they primarily ask for is agency. Are you a high agency person or are you not? Like, are you able to learn things quickly, build on them? Are you a yes man? And are you able to like think very differently? And that is something which you cannot write on the resume, and that is something which people do care about, and resume will go obsolete in 4 years. But again, to be able to do things which are highly important, which signal high value. So our aim as students, as professionals, as whatever is to signal that we are high value individuals, right? There's a lot of talent pool in the world. And this is the first time human intelligence can be replicated with the form of a machine, right? Human intelligence has always been very expensive and highly valuable. This is the first time that intelligence is being replicated. So we are in times where signaling value is becoming very difficult. Like you need to be able to signal that you are an high agency person. How do you signal? Projects, valuable projects, a good social presence. Uh, Thirdly, to be able to bring numerical results in whatever you do. I'll talk about all of these. First is projects, right? So I'll talk about two projects. First one was while I was in Singapore. I traveled to Taiwan, Indonesia, Malaysia, and I went to India back home, and then I was in US and I was in Canada, and this was not primarily, and then I was in the UK. This was not primarily for just traveling. While I was in a new country, every new country, I tried understanding the banking of that country, consumer finance and AI. I tried understanding how consumers shop because not because I wanted that on my resume, but because I was very enthusiastic to understand and learn that. I tried talking to people who were professionals, non-professional shopkeepers, and I understood how different banking is in each country, how different consumer experience is in each country, and how artificial intelligence and new technology is changing that. Like, for example, if you shop something from Amazon, right, the longer it takes you to buy it, there's a huge probability, the larger the probability is that you won't buy it, right? So that is what artificial intelligence is changing. So I got in touch with a lot of professionals and a lot of people, and I observed those writings firsthand. I collected the data and published this research paper, which you can check on my Medium account as well, and which was published with a research publication as of to how consumer finance and banking is changing with artificial intelligence. This was the first project, which again signals high value because this was for my personal curiosity. This was not for anyone. I didn't do it for my resume. In fact, I just mentioned it on my resume a week ago, right? So this was the first project I did. This was for my personal curiosity. Secondly, I will be talking about startups. So while I was in Singapore, I got in touch with a lot of startups, a lot of amazing people who were building amazing things and who had high agency and who had a perspective as of to what to do. I observed them firsthand, and I did advise a lot of startups as well. So I started working with a VC called 3F VC, which is based out of India. And this VC, I'm an advisor for them. So I advised a lot of startups. One of them is Prava, which recently raised a round. So I advised a lot of startup as of to what they should be doing, how they should be doing, and the results were great. And that I did not, again, not for the resume, but for my personal curiosity. I read a lot of books, I read a lot of research articles, I read a lot of data, so that I could consume that, and tell it in a way that any no artificial intelligence model or engine can. So I was working with a VC when I was in Singapore, which is like from that point onwards, I'm still affiliated to them. So again, 3F VC was a great point of conjecture for me because I learned a lot of things while advising those businesses, and yeah, that gave me a perspective as of to what I want to do in the long run, right? Third, Thirdly, I would want to talk about this project. Not even a project. This was a very fun thing that one of my friends back home in Mumbai and me. We both wanted to just explore an industry in India. So there's this quick commerce industry in India. We started writing about it, and because we were very curious, this was again for personal curiosity. We were very curious about the industry, and we wrote a publication on it. We This was our first research article, and we published it on X, like just on Twitter through 3FVC again, and it it had so much traction. It got like it got almost it went viral on X, and there were very prominent VCs and funds and business people across the world, India, Singapore, and US, who replied to our thread, and it went viral. And now we have decided, for our personal curiosity, we will be building one good research article every month, so that we are able to fulfill our personal curiosity and put it out to the world. It's just an art form for us. So these are the three projects that I can remember at the back of my mind prominently firsthand. And yeah, along with that, RBC, I was working at RBC. I did a couple of projects at RBC, Lendesk, Finmo, and Helios Jira. I worked with the RBC AI. I got an amazing experience while working at the Royal Bank of Canada, and I think. those that was a great, prominently amazing professional experience for me. I interacted with amazing leaders from across the globe, for the Royal Bank of Canada, and it was great. Along with that, I would like to mention the CIAC. So I spoke at the Canadians in Asia conference. This is a conference which takes part in Singapore every year, and I was representing U of T there. So I was a representative. I was one of the youngest representatives in the room, and that is how I got in touch with the people who referred me, and people I'm still in touch with, and who know me by name and not for my resume. And those people know me by the value, not even by the value, but they just know me because they just, again, as Gen Z say, they just love the vibe. So yeah, create the vibe, not the resume. Resume will happen itself. It will happen for sure. But make sure you focus on you are an amazing person to work with. People like you, and people want to be around you for the most of the time, because skill set and all of those things are very replicatable. Like they can be replicated very easily. Like no one, me, Sean, anyone of you listening, no one has something which no one else in the world has. Like skill sets are replicable, but the ability to signal value by having a great social presence and having curiosity, that is something which is very rare. So focus on that.
Yeah, I think that's some great advice for students entering college. I think a lot of people feel that GPA is important, but I think the experiences you have, the opportunities you get, and the ability to harness that for even more opportunities and experiences is something students should definitely look out for. Because at the end of the day, those experiences set you apart, as because everyone's going to be submitting a resume, everyone has a GPA, but what else can you offer a company when you apply? So I think just being able to have these experiences and have that exposure is great. So thank you, Karan, for taking the time to help students who are now looking to enter university.
No worries. Always there, Sean.